This is the second time I've been commissioned to read a Newbery Award-winning book. Again, I'd like to remind any kids out there that you shouldn't watch my video just to get out of reading the book for school, okay?
Argofont Book Review, Argofont Book Review.
The Giver is about a boy named Jonas who lives in a highly structured community in the future. We start with Jonas and his family sharing their feelings at mealtime. His sister Lily is annoyed because she was pestered by kids on a field trip today. Father is worried because one of the newborns at work is doing badly and might be released. Mother is worried because a repeat offender showed up in her courtroom today. If he breaks the law a third time, he will be released into elsewhere. Jonas is worried about the upcoming ceremony of 12. He and everyone else in his class are going to be assigned jobs this year. Jonas's parents assure him that the Council of Elders is always very careful about job assignments. They put everyone in the job that fits them best. But where will Jonas be? The only job he can rule out is birth mother, which seems to be the worst job. A birth mother gets to have 3 children as a teenager, then she spends the rest of her life doing manual labor. It's sort of like 16 and pregnant. Mathematically speaking, 2/3 of the women must be birth mothers in order for this society to maintain the replacement fertility rate. That's kind of rough. Furthermore, each family is allowed a maximum of 2 children, and not everyone chooses to be assigned a spouse or children. Given this information, I must conclude their population is slowly shrinking over time. Back to the book. Father is allowed to let the new child live in their home for a year before it gets assigned to a family. The child is called Gabriel, and he's a lot of fun. Jonas plays with Gabriel, and he plays catch with an apple. He's startled when it changes in midair. No one else seems to notice. Jonas has a dream about his friend Fiona that night. His parents recognize it as the start of puberty, although they call it the stirrings. They are required to take pills each day to suppress those feelings. No getting Twitter-pated for you, Jonas. Finally, the ceremony comes. The chief elder gives out job assignments along with a speech for each person. Funny Asher is assigned to recreation. Fiona is caretaker of the old. Chief elder skips over Jonas and comes back to him at the end because he has been assigned the most important job of the community. He will be the receiver of memory because he has admirable qualities and the ability to see beyond. After school each day, Jonas goes for job training at the Giver's quarters. The Giver is an older man who has a personal secretary and a private wing all to himself. It's the only place in town which is locked by a door. The Giver explains that Jonas's job is to receive the memories of the past and the whole world. He starts with the memory of snow. The Giver puts his hands on Jonas's back. Jonas suddenly sees himself using a sled during a light snowfall. He's amazed by how wonderful it is. The Giver explains they got rid of snow a long time ago when they implemented climate control. They also got rid of hills, which were bad for traffic. Jonas receives the memories of sunshine and sunburn, which is somewhat painful. This is only 3 memories, but when Jonas talks to Fiona the next day, she says he was gone for hours. What took so long? Fiona's hair changes during the conversation. Is this seeing beyond? The Giver explains that it's red. That's a color. There used to be colors in the world before sameness. It's never explained how memory transmission works. In real life, you can't give memories by touching someone and concentrating. Maybe Jonas and the Giver are both psychic. Jonas tries to give memories to his friends and family, but it doesn't work. The only one who can receive memories is baby Gabriel, who has the same light-colored eyes as Jonas. So, eye color determines telepathic ability in this universe. 10 years ago, the Giver's daughter Rosemary was selected as a replacement for him. He gave Rosemary memories of happy things like kittens and carousels and Taylor Swift concerts. After a few weeks, he gave her the painful memory of loneliness. She immediately decided, "That's it, I'm out." The next day she asked to be released into elsewhere. No one ever saw her again. It's a sad story, but here's where it gets weird. When Rosemary left, Her memories somehow entered the public consciousness. Suddenly, everyone in the community knew what kittens are, and they were terrified. Mass panic. The giver leads kind of a lonely life. He mostly sits around and has memories all day. Because of his unique knowledge, the giver is consulted on important decisions, but mostly he's a scapegoat for unpleasant memories that no one else wants to have. As the months go on, Jonas gets painful memories like war and broken legs. He also gets happy ones like birthdays and family and love. Jonas starts to realize that he can no longer communicate with his family and friends. They have no idea what true feelings are like, and it's sort of like they're living a shallow half-life. A pair of twins is born. That's against the rules, so father has to release one of them to elsewhere. When Jonas mentions this to the giver requests a video from the Hall of Closed Records. There's no way to sugarcoat this. The release ceremony is actually baby murder. Father injects something into the newborn's veins until it stops moving. He puts the dead body in a box and shoves it through a hole in the wall. Father talks to the child while he does this because he has no idea it's dead. He has no concept of death. Jonas is rightly horrified by what his father is doing. The giver and Jonas come up with a plan to change things. If Jonas goes away forever, like Rosemary did, his memories would be absorbed into the general population. They would know about colors and love and death and everything in between. The plan is disrupted when Gabriel is scheduled for release. Jonas can't let Gabriel die, so he takes Gabriel and runs away on a bike in the middle of the night. The two of them hide in bushes whenever search planes come by. Eventually, the planes stop coming. The book finishes on a symbolic and non-concrete note. They go past the boundaries of civilization into a forest. Jonas finds a sled, and he rides it to a village filled with happy people. He suspects the people he left are happy now, too. The end. Post-book follow-up. This book blew my mind when I read it as a kid. I was amazed at how detailed the futuristic society is, and the way the book connects free will to the problem of evil. Rereading it as an adult, it is still amazing. The themes and ideas work on so many levels, and it raises legitimate questions about human nature. How far would you go to protect other people? You could draw parallels between this book and Plato's Republic, or St. Thomas More's Utopia. I'm gonna go for the nerd reference here, and compare it to Star Trek Deep Space Nine, number 15, Objective Bajor. Insectoid aliens have a structured society like the one in this book. It's mostly controlled by a computer. The villain hacks the computer for his own advantage. He reassigns the hero's fiancée to a remote location in order to end their relationship. That fiend! Here's a stupid question. Why can't Jonas and the Giver transmit memories to a fish? They could go to the fish hatchery and give the memories to a fish with light-colored eyes. Then, when the fish dies, everybody gets the memories without Jonas being forced to leave forever. It's theoretically possible, since eye color is the only thing that lets you receive memories. The book leaves a lot of things open-ended, like who is on the Council of Elders? How did their world get like this? And the big one, what happens to every single character? In this case, it works to leave some things unexplained. In passing, we're told the Giver often visits other communities and works there. I wonder what he does. How different are the other communities from this one? Also in passing, they mention computers, genetic engineering, commerce, and industry, none of which seem to exist in this world. They don't have a concept of money. How do they study commerce? Overall, this is a great, thoughtful book, which was very well written and has little room for improvement. I would recommend it to almost everyone. I give The Giver a perfect 10 out of 10. I mentioned that I was commissioned to read this book. I was commissioned through Patreon. There's a link to my Patreon page on the screen right now, so you can click on it, and you can commission me to read a book if you really want to.